So they were over budget, and it got to the point where they had to film the last scene. And the last scene was supposed to take place in New York. So there's this part where the dimensions start merging.
Which, the whole World Trade Center thing is a little... Ugh.
Yeah.
A little...
Yeah, all of a sudden the World Trade Center
reminiscent of what happened.
Kind of disintegrating to turn into the Koopa Towers.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Did not age well at all.
Yeah. But from that point forward, when now you've got Koopa and Mario back in New York, and everything starts merging together, there was supposed to be a grand finale on the Brooklyn Bridge, where Koopa, because earlier he was forced into the Devo chamber, and you kind of get a glimpse of him kind of like a slight morph into a T-Rex. It's very, very quick. He does use his tongue at some point in the film too.
When he's sexually assaulting Daisy.
Right, but you can see that there's the T-Rex is kind of coming out. So at the end of the film, they use these Devo guns, which are the Super Scopes for the Super Nintendo. And they hit Koopa with them, and not only does he turn full on into a T-Rex, but he ends up being like the size of a T-Rex, I guess.
He doesn't even look like a T-Rex, he just looks like a fucking booger monster.
Yeah, in the finale that they have him in. But the reason why he also looks like a booger monster is because you're going straight from Koopa to into this T-Rex thing, and then you got the beam hitting it. Well, we'll get there in a second. So the finale was supposed to be Brooklyn Bridge. Mario runs up the cables of the Brooklyn Bridge, and he's got the bombs, and Koopa's down at the bottom of the bridge, and he's doing his Koopa thing like he does in the video games and shit like that. And Mario's dropping bombs into his mouth. And then Koopa's supposed to explode. That was supposed to be the original ending.
Okay.
But instead, because they're over budget and they've been shooting for too long, they then went back, like the merge stops happening, everything resets, and now you got what ends up being the last battle where they're blasting Koopa, and he's in this bucket, almost like at the end of Super Mario Brothers.
Which at the time was another thing.
Clown bucket.
Yep, that's what you were like, well, that's kind of like his clown car. And I'm like,
yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, it was Koopa in a bucket. And Koopa, we called it a clown car back then. I kind of still sometimes call it a clown car, but it's actually, I've heard also people, now that Mario Maker's been out, call it a clown bucket. So, because it's not really a car either.
Well, yeah.
So, but it definitely has the face of a clown. So it's kind of like, it's supposed to mirror that, I think.
Again, we're stretching
what they were going for. But he's in there, and Koopa's being hit with these beams from the Devo guns, and so you got the beams effect, and then you got Koopa, and he's morphing, and you see like the T-Rex kind of start to come out, but then right away it starts turning into sludge because he's being de-evolved way too far
to like a primordial ooze type of
primordial
thing, but
ooze,
it looks
right?
Like garbage. It's so stupid.
I think what they could have done if they were really smart instead of. I know they were over budget and they were rushing, and that wasn't supposed to be the end of the ending for the film. Maybe they could have stretched it out like another 2 minutes and got to the point where they de-evolved him, and he's a T-Rex, and he is how he is. Maybe throw the bombs, kind of like how Mario does when he's picking up what are the wind-up little Koopa things that were in the castle that he was...
Mecha Koopas.
Mecha Koopas. He's also throwing bombs out of that thing. Like, why couldn't Mario use the bombs in that scene and toss them up into the bucket like a basketball or something and blow the Koopa up that way and then de-evolve him or something? Like, they could have made it a little bit better.
Or they're on
it almost felt cheated that it was that easy to kill him.
They're on a catwalk for most of that finale. Why doesn't Luigi hit an axe or something and the whole catwalk falls and he falls into lava or something? Or why weren't they just in a foundry or something? Because the whole fucking place is already like industrial as hell.
Right.
Could have had the whole finale in like a foundry. Catwalk falls and
wasn't that set a former foundry? The set was a former foundry.
I don't doubt that. I don't know. I can't say for certain either way.
I think it was. I think it was, and it was like the biggest set that any of the filmmakers had ever worked on. They said there was no way they could build that in a studio. The studio would have been too small. In fact, the building that they used ended up being Top Dollar's hideout in The Crow.
Oh, shit.
A year or two later. So if you've seen The Crow and you've seen what that building looks like from the outside and the inside, you know how big that building actually is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
At some point, towards the end of the movie, Mario and Luigi are like doing something or whatever, and Mario,
They're doing something.
they're doing something.
The Humpty Dance.
And,
what?
and Mario, there's a dance scene. Yeah, there's a couple dance scenes. But Mario, we didn't really talk about his girlfriend because she's not really in it. But he has like this other girlfriend
Yeah.
that's not Peach or
Right.
Toadstool. She's just
Or
Gina.
Pauline.
Yeah, she's like Gina or something like that. Who like, by the way, he just like after the date he just drops her off and is like, all right, time to go to bed. Like have a good night. Like
Yeah.
But anyway.
For as connected those two were supposed to be after the first date, like
Because he even talks about, she was like...
at the
why-
end of the
she was
movie,
like-
they're like living together already, and
Yeah,
he just rescued her like 3 weeks ago or something. Like, and
Because
before
during the
that, they
dinner
had one
scene-
date.
During the dinner scene, they're like... Gina's basically telling, like, Luigi and Daisy to be like, you guys should go off and do your own thing, because, like, you know, me and Mario, you know, they don't call him Jumpman for nothing, you know? And then, like, 20 seconds later, he's just like, all right, have a good night.
Yeah.
Like, but, so anyway... Mario and Luigi, at some point at the end of the movie, Mario's like, me and Gina, we were going to go to WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. Now, do you know what Mario and Gina would have seen at that WrestleMania in 1993? Why it was so important to go to WrestleMania
Was it
for them? It was WrestleMania 9 in 1993. You want a quick rundown? I looked it up because I was like, well,
God.
why is he so crazy about WrestleMania?
I used to know a lot of stuff about WrestleManias
So-
in WWE, WWF, but I don't remember anymore.
I had no idea. I didn't get into wrestling until like
I'll
the
probably
late
be like, oh
80s or
yeah, that's
late
right.
90s.
But
So it was WrestleMania 9. It took place in Vegas. It was the first WrestleMania to be held outdoors. It was also Jim Ross's debut as a commentator. Bobby Heenan rode a camel to the ring.
oh, I remember Bobby Heenan riding the camel. Yeah.
And the main match, the headlining match, was Bret Hart defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Yokozuna, and
Okay.
he lost. But Hulk Hogan had a dispute where he's like, whoever wins this match, I want to face them in an impromptu match for the World Heavyweight title.
Uh-huh.
And so Yokozuna won, and so Hogan came out, and basically, from what I read, all he did was perform like a leg drop
Of course.
and won the title.
Yeah.
So that's what Mario and Gino were trying to go to WrestleMania for. That's what they wanted to go see.
Gotcha.
So it's important, man.
Interesting.
He really wanted to go see WrestleMania.
What makes it
9.
even more interesting is the only thing I remember from that WrestleMania is Bobby Heenan riding in on a camel. I remember nothing else from that WrestleMania.
From what I read, and take it with a grain of salt, it's Wikipedia. It was like, as far as ratings go, the lowest rated WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Like people hated it.
Yeah.
So, Bobby Heenan riding a camel. I mean, again, like this movie, pick something because you need something to enjoy.
So anyway, so like I said, I hadn't seen it in like 25 years. I was dabbling in like this like whole cult following in recent years, and what like there's like a whole website now devoted to the movie, the Super Mario movie archive or something like that. I think it's called. I could be wrong, but I'll put it down there, the link. And it got to the point where I guess there was even like 5 years ago, they started writing a sequel comic book that has been digitally uploaded to that website. So after watching the movie, I decided to start reading it. And it is actually really good. Like, and there's just fans wrote it.
It's
fans
not hard
did
to top the movie. I mean, let's be honest.
What's great about it is they answer a lot of questions. Like, to try to answer a lot of questions right away about, like, plot holes and why this character is this character.
Why
what happened
Toad isn't a mushroom instead of a dinosaur for some reason.
Well, and that's the thing. So, like you said, like, at the end, like, how come the king returns to normal? And then you see shots of all the Goombas. They're still Goombas, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the film, and they're going like that. They're
for
going
the most
back and
part,
forth.
still like it was.
Well, apparently, killing Koopa, the type of de-evolution that he did on the king was not the same type of de-evolution he did in. He didn't use the chamber for the de-evolution on the king. It was more less like a experimental magic thing, and the magic was contained into the chamber and into the guns eventually. So it was like a spell that wore off. As far as the Goombas go, eventually they were de-evolved manually, so to speak, with guns or the chamber or whatever. So at the beginning of the comic book, when it picks up right at the end of the movie where they're in the apartment and Daisy shows up and she's kind of like, you're not going to believe this, like Back to the Future, right? At the end of Back to the Future, like, you're not going to believe this. You guys got to come with me. And, Mario's like, what, are my kids bastards in the future? And she's like, no. Anyway, so she shows up at the apartment, and then they go back, and they find out that there's basically warp holes that are opening to other dimensions, kind of like on their own. Like, there's some kind of other power that's going on in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Run by Waluigi. No?
No. And they get down there, and all of a sudden there's this character wearing the whole Goomba guard,
Soviet Union.
Yeah,
shit.
right.
No.
And he's wearing like this headgear and a wrap. No. And he's wearing a wrap. It's Toad, okay? The whole headgear is shaped like Toad's head, without being an actual mushroom cap, but he's got like the two slits, and he's got like this like little mouth thing going on. So, but the question is,
harmonica and
no harmonica,
guitar,
but he's got a wicked ass gun, and all of a sudden, these were they in Super Mario Brothers 2? Were they called Buzzy Beetles? Shy Guys. These like Shy Guys, but they're like elongated, almost human-like, start flying out of the portal, and they start killing, them. And eventually, I don't want to ruin a lot of it, but Toad ends up taking off the headgear, and he's de-evolved. He's back to musician Toad, how he was before he was turned into a Goomba. It's just like his warrior gear that he's wearing or whatever. But basically, the whole storyline is that this guy named Wart is opening up these portals so that he can take over the Mushroom Kingdom. And Wart's not a Toad, but they do a really good job in the comic of making this human guy have Toad-like features, like this wide mouth and like little nostrils, but he's got all these warts all over his face too. And he's very rotund.
Yeah.
I
don't know. Why are we still going with humans?
It's actually because you can't just magically change it.
You could just make a separate thing that has nothing to do with the movie.
You can't do that. Yes. You can't do that. It does a really good job of explaining things, and it gets really good, and the humor is actually very well written for what it's worth. The only problem, and it's on a Discord, and so you get to read other people's comments, and there really isn't anything negative anybody says about it. There's some people that might be like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, if they had a complaint, it's a valid complaint. Like, maybe this is what you need to do. It's a very good critique of what they're doing. But then all of a sudden, like in issue 4, it just stops. And they haven't uploaded anything new in 3 years. So that's kind of disappointing because it starts getting really good. They're about to really go to war. And they realize that who this Wart guy is. And all of a sudden it just stops. And they never finished it. And it's like, what the fuck? But It's
I'll
out
take
there.
your word for it.
It's out there. If you want to go
you
look
guys
it
can
up.
check it out.
If you want to go look it up, it's a webcomic sequel that isn't finished. Just know that it's not finished. So overall, am I glad I rewatched this movie? Now, 25 years since I've seen it, now as an adult. Yeah. So I liked it the first time. I didn't like it the second time, which is why I haven't seen it then. Now I'm kind of like in between. If there's ever like a 4K restoration with deleted scenes put in and all that kind of stuff, and it's finished like a ultimate fan director's cut or whatever they would call it, would I buy it? No, I wouldn't. I don't think I'm probably going to see this again, probably ever. If you want to see what the whole thing is about, with the fuss and the negativity and then the cult thing that's been going on lately, do I recommend you watch it? Yes. I recommend you watch it. Try to Google it for free, maybe. Don't pay to watch it. Don't pay to rent it. $2 on Amazon or whatever. I don't know if you can, but
I'm kind of along the same lines as you. Like, you know, this is my third time ever watching this movie. I saw it when it came out. I saw it again sometime during high school. And I remember the first time it came out, like I said, I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this because I'm too young, because, you know, like I said, the stuff in the movie didn't match up from the game, so it was confusing to me. And then I watched it again in high school, and I was like, this is garbage. And then I watched it again last night, and I was like, this is garbage. So, it is a really bad movie.
it is.
It's awful. But I'm more along the lines of, like, with you, like, seeing is believing. Like, if you have any type of fascination with what we talked about, or like if you don't know anything about this movie and you're like kind of want to like see it, go ahead. But honestly, like, I don't ever want to watch this movie ever
Yeah,
again.
like I said earlier, like the actors in it are great, okay? And they did the best they could with the bullshit that they went through, okay? What they ended up filming was not what they signed on for. So what you get, as far as they go, I think they did a great job for what they had. You can't fault them.
And again, we kind of glossed over this, but it was the first video game movie adaptation ever made. Like, there was nothing to... They didn't really know what they were doing. And I feel like for a very long time, nobody still knew what they were doing up until, like, what? Maybe Detective Pikachu. I think there's an argument for Silent Hill.
Well, I mean, Detective Pikachu is definitely the first Nintendo IP since Mario
then.
Brothers. That's why Nintendo was just like
18
fuck
years.
that, yeah.
18 years later, yeah. But and there's an argument for Silent Hill. There's
25.
25,
1993 to 2018.
93. Oh, fuck, I don't know what year it is anymore. God damn.
25 years
I'm
between
so old.
Detective Pikachu and Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. So there's, you know, you got to put context to that as well when and if you watch it.
It's a guilty pleasure. If you like it, if you end up liking it, it's going to be one of those you could throw into the guilty pleasure categories.
You know,
if you do like it, it's so bad that it's good type of a movie.
I always say it's okay to like a bad movie.
I like some bad movies, but
absolutely
this one's just terrible.
I mean, I said Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's not really
but
it's great at the same time.
You know, like, you watch my the movie top movie list, and you know I got The Crow in there. There's a lot of people over time since 1994 that I've talked to people about The Crow, and they're like
cringy, but it's also
and they're like
at the same time.
It looks like shit. You think it looks like shit? I think it looks fucking fantastic. I think cinematography is great. But there's people that think it's a bad movie, and
I feel like that's a whole
the only reason why people like it is because Brandon Lee died or something, and it's like, no, that's not. I didn't even know anything about that when I saw it. Like, I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So, but anyway, it's subjective. You might like it, which is like I'm saying. I recommend you watch it for free at least once. If you've seen it, don't let this deter you in any way from not seeing it again. And also, I hope don't let it maybe spark any interest in being like, oh, come on, I don't remember it being that bad. I'm going to watch it again. Just don't watch it again. You do remember it being that bad, but it was bad. But if you haven't seen it and you're like, oh, I got like this like, Twitch, I gotta maybe check it out. Like, check it out. So that's where I'm going with that. So we at least agree on that?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Honestly, I was a little scared because we didn't talk about it before filming. Because you do have a different taste in movies than I do. Sometimes we kind of agree on movies, but I was kind of sitting here like, man, does Paul really like this movie? Does he think it's a good movie?
Yeah.
I was a little scared, but...
Yeah. No, I would not, it's not going to end up on my shelf upstairs.
Okay.
At all.
So I won't buy you that digital deluxe edition for Christmas.
Nope. That's
all right.
You're wasting your money. All right. So that'll be it for this episode. So on the next time that it's going to probably just be me. I'm sure it's going to just be me. Of Rewind and Rewatch. The movie we're going to talk about is 1989's The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. You remember that one? Did you ever even see it?
No.
Probably don't want to.
It's Dolph Lundgren, so it's gonna be fantastic.
No, it's Did you ever see Masters of the Universe?
Not all of it, no.
We'll do that one again. We'll do that one at some point too. But the next episode is going to be 1989's The Punisher, and I'm not really looking forward to it because I haven't seen it since 1989. So if you like what you've seen, go ahead and click that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And let us know below if you've seen Super Mario Brothers the movie, what you thought about it. If you haven't seen it, are you not going to see it? Are you going to see it? We'll see you guys next time.
Later.